Chelsea are huge favorites for this match at BB Gang. But Ipswich has pulled off some underdog wins on the road this season. Could this be another upset in the making? It's Ipswich versus Chelsea. Monday, December 30th at Portman Road. It's been 22 years since these two clubs met in league play. Back then, Chelsea were champions. And Ipswich, well, let's just say they've been on a bit of a roller coaster ride since.
What's fascinating here is that Ipswich are in a real relegation scrap. They desperately need a win, especially at home. But their home form has been, well, abysmal. Chelsea, on the other hand, are sitting comfortably in third, eyeing a Champions League spot. They're coming off a draw, though, so they'll be looking to get back to winning ways.
Okay, let's unpack the history between these two sides a bit. Chelsea have been absolutely dominant in this fixture. We're talking 9 straight wins against Ipswich. The last time they met was back in 2011, and Chelsea thrashed them 7-0. So, historically speaking, things aren't looking great for Ipswich.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, what's really interesting is how Ipswich perform away from home. You'd think Portman Road would be a fortress. But they've actually lost their last 3 matches there. In fact, they haven't won a single home game this season. Even worse, they've gone 13 matches without a clean sheet at home. This raises an important question. Is Portman Road actually a disadvantage for Ipswich?
But here's the twist. Both of Ipswich's wins this season have come on the road. And they weren't against slouches either. They beat Wolves and Tottenham away. Now, those are proper scalps. This makes you wonder, are they a team that thrives as the underdog, away from the pressure of their home crowd?
While Ipswich might enjoy being the underdog, we can't ignore Chelsea's away form. They've been pretty solid on the road, winning 3 of their last 4 away matches. Remember that 4-3 thriller they won against Tottenham? What a game that was. But they did draw their last match against Everton. Does this suggest a potential vulnerability? Could Ipswich capitalize on this?
Let's dive into the tactical side of things a bit. Do you think Ipswich will play defensively? Maybe park the bus and hope for a counterattack. Could that be their strategy to snatch a surprise result? Or will they go for it, knowing they desperately need the 3 points?
It's a tough call. Parking the bus, as they say in football, essentially means adopting a very defensive approach, focusing on frustrating the opposition and hitting them on the counterattack. Against a team like Chelsea, with their firepower, it might be tempting for Ipswich to go for that approach. But then again, their home form is so poor, maybe they need to be more proactive.
On the other hand, Chelsea has the squad depth to rotate players if they want to. We might even see some fresh faces in the starting lineup, like João Felix. This could be a chance for Enzo Maresca to give some of his fringe players a run out.
That's a key point. Chelsea's depth is a real advantage. They can rest key players and still field a competitive side if they do decide to rotate. It'll be interesting to see how their performance is affected. Will they be as fluid and dangerous in attack? Will they be as solid defensively? These are questions Ipswich will be hoping to exploit.
All right. So we've looked at the history, the current form, and even touched upon some tactical considerations. Now, let's get down to the nitty-gritty. Based on everything we've discussed, what's your prediction for this match? Could Ipswich pull off a shock upset? Or will Chelsea cruise to victory? Give us the details of BB Gang.
Well, Chelsea's strength and depth, it could actually play into their hands tactically. Think about it. Their midfield rotation keeps them fresh and allows for relentless pressing against an Ipswich side that's likely to be battling relegation nerves. That constant pressure could be a real difference maker. You saw how Tottenham struggled to cope with it in that 4-3 match.
So you're saying Chelsea could actually use their squad depth as a tactical weapon to overwhelm Ipswich? That's a really interesting point. Now, let's talk about Liam Delap. Ipswich's leading scorer with 6 goals. Can he be the hero Ipswich needs? Or will Chelsea's defense be too much for him to handle?
Delap's a talented young player, no doubt. He's got pace, power, and a decent finishing touch. But if Ipswich are going to rely on the counterattack, he'll need support. The midfielders will have to be quick and precise in their transitions to create any sort of threat. Remember, Chelsea's defense has been pretty solid this season.
Speaking of defense, let's flip the script and talk about Chelsea's potential vulnerabilities. They did draw their last match against Everton, a team known for their defensive resilience. Does this give Ipswich a glimmer of hope? Could they replicate Everton's approach and frustrate Chelsea?
What's fascinating about that Everton match is that it exposed a potential weakness in Chelsea's attack. When teams sit deep and defend in numbers, Chelsea can become a bit predictable, relying too much on intricate passing moves around the penalty area. If Ipswich can stay disciplined, organized, and maintain their concentration, they might just be able to frustrate Chelsea's creative players.
So, if Ipswich were to park the bus, What specific defensive formations could we see from them, and how could they counter Chelsea's tactical approach?
They could go with a 5-3-2, packing the midfield and trying to congest the space that Chelsea likes to operate in. The wingbacks would need to be disciplined in tracking back and preventing Chelsea from getting those dangerous crosses in. The three center backs would have to be strong in the air and deal with any long balls Chelsea might try to play over the top.
Okay, so a 5-3-2 could give them defensive solidity, but how would they go about hitting Chelsea on the counter? They'd need to be quick and decisive in transition, wouldn't they?
Absolutely. Speed and precision will be key. They'd need to get the ball forward quickly to Delap and have runners from midfield supporting him. They'll also need to be clinical with any chances they create. They can't afford to waste opportunities against a team like Chelsea.
Now, let's not forget the psychological aspect of this match. Ipswich are desperate for a win, especially at home where they haven't tasted victory all season. Can they use that desperation as fuel, or will the pressure of expectation get to them?
The atmosphere at Portman Road could be electric, especially if Ipswich start brightly. But can they handle the pressure? If Chelsea scores first, the doubts could creep in, and the crowd could become restless. It's a delicate balance.
It's almost like a mental game of chess, isn't it? Ipswich needing to believe they can win while trying to manage the pressure of expectations, and Chelsea needing to guard against complacency.
Exactly, and that's what makes this match so intriguing. It's not just about tactics and formations, it's about mentality, about who can impose their will on the other.
All right, so we've delved into the tactical intricacies, explored potential vulnerabilities, and even touched upon the psychological battle that might unfold. Now, let's revisit our predictions. After all this analysis, do you still see this as a comfortable Chelsea win?
I think I'm going to stick with my original prediction of a 2-0 victory for Chelsea. While I do see potential areas where Ipswich could cause them problems, I still believe Chelsea's quality and experience will ultimately shine through.
Okay. You're sticking with a 2-0 Chelsea win. I admire your conviction. Now, after considering all the angles, I'm actually leaning toward a slightly closer encounter. I'm going to say 1-0 to Chelsea. I think Ipswich will put up a fight, make it difficult for Chelsea to break them down.
Interesting. A 1-0 prediction. That's bold. What makes you think it'll be that close?
Well, I think Ipswich will be fired up for this one, especially playing at home in front of their own fans. They'll be desperate to prove a point and end their home woes. I can see them frustrating Chelsea, keeping things tight, maybe even scoring a late goal. But I still think Chelsea's quality will win out in the end.
That's a fair point. Ipswich will be playing with their hearts on their sleeves. But, even if they don't get the win, a strong performance, a battling display could do wonders for their confidence going forward.
Absolutely. A good performance against a top team like Chelsea could be the catalyst for a turnaround in their season. And you never know. Maybe they'll even snatch a draw or a surprise victory.
That's the beauty of football, isn't it? It's full of surprises. So, Habibi gang, while we're making our predictions, remember that anything can happen on the pitch.
Now, before we wrap up our analysis and head into the final part of our deep dive, we want to hear from you, Habibi gang. What are your predictions for this match? Do you see Chelsea cruising to victory, or could Ipswich pull off a shock upset?
Let us know your thoughts in the comments. We love hearing from you, and we're always up for a good debate.
All right, Habibi gang, let's shift our focus now and talk about the players who can make a real impact on this match. Let's start with Ipswich. Who are their key players? Who needs to step up for them to get a result against a team like Chelsea?
Well, as we've discussed, Liam Delap is their main goal threat. He's their leading scorer. And if they're going to snatch a goal, it's likely going to come from him. He's young, he's got energy, and he's shown he can find the back of the net.
He'll need to be clinical against this Chelsea defense, though.
Right.
They've been fairly solid this season, haven't they?
Absolutely. But one thing that could work in Delap's favor is Chelsea's potential rotation. If Maresca decides to rest some key defenders, that might give Delap a bit more space to operate. He's got the pace to trouble even experienced defenders, so any slight dip in concentration from Chelsea's backline could be exploited.
So any defensive changes from Chelsea could play right into Ipswich's hands. Now, beyond Delap, are there any other Ipswich players we should keep an eye on?
Their midfielders are going to be crucial in this match. They'll need to win the battle in the middle of the park, disrupt Chelsea's rhythm, and protect that defense. If they can break up Chelsea's attacks and quickly transition into counterattacks, that's where Ipswich could really hurt them.
So, a strong midfield performance is vital for Ipswich. Now, let's turn our attention to Chelsea. Even with potential rotation, they still have a wealth of talent. Who are the danger men for them in this match?
Well, If João Felix gets the nod to start, he could be a real handful for Ipswich. He's got that creativity, that unpredictability, that can unlock a stubborn defense. Remember what he did to Tottenham when he came off the bench? Changed the whole complexion of the game?
Yes. He's got that flair or ability to make things happen. Chelsea's attack could be quite potent, even if they rest some key players.
And let's not forget about their defensive stability. Even if they rotate, they've got experience at the back, they'll be organized, they'll communicate well, and they'll be looking to frustrate Ipswich's attack. A clean sheet is always a good foundation for a win.
Okay. So we've looked at some potential key players for both sides. Now, zooming out a bit, what are the main storylines we should be watching for in this match? What are the narratives that could really shape the game?
For Ipswich, it's all about breaking that dreadful home form. They haven't won at Portman Road all season. They need a result. They need to give their fans something to cheer about. If they can get a positive result against a top team like Chelsea, it could be a real turning point in their season.
It's almost like a mental hurdle they need to overcome.
Right.
Getting that first home win could release the pressure and give them the belief to push on.
Exactly. And for Chelsea, it's all about maintaining momentum. They're in a good position in the league, challenging for a Champions League spot. They can't afford to drop points, especially against a team battling relegation. They need to show their championship mentality and grind out a result.
That's a classic clash of motivations,
Yeah.
isn't it? Ipswich fighting for survival, Chelsea chasing glory.
Absolutely. And let's not forget the historical context. Chelsea have completely dominated this fixture in recent years. Ipswich will be looking to change the narrative, to show that they can compete at this level.
So, there you have it, Habibi gang. A relegation-threatened Ipswich, desperate for a home win, taking on a high-flying Chelsea, aiming to maintain their momentum. We've analyzed the stats, the tactics, and the potential key players. We've given you our predictions, but as we always say, anything can happen in football.
That's the beauty of the beautiful game. It's unpredictable, it's passionate, and it's full of surprises. So tune in on Monday night and see what unfolds. It promises to be a fascinating encounter.
And Habibi gang, before you go, remember to hit that subscribe button and join our community. We're all about sharing the love of football, having passionate discussions, and of course, making those bold predictions.
Until next time, Habibi gang, stay passionate, enjoy the beautiful game, and we'll catch you on the next Deep Dive.